can be mortal.
Welcome back, Mere Mortalites. It is the 28th of September. It is Sunday. It is 9 a.m. We are live once again. For all the Mere Mortalites at home, we're going to be talking about today.
I was going to... You got your bucks thing on.
I've got my bucks on my wrists as well.
Last week we had a slight mishap. Juan's Bucks party.
Correct.
I got him trashed.
Absolutely trashed. Destroyed.
Puking everywhere.
Yep.
Over this much sip of a beer.
Correct. And that is. So if you're going to do a bucks, what are the things that you can imagine that you want to get right? You want to be throwing up.
Yeah.
You want to be feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And you want to have friends and do some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So all of those things were ticked off. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it wasn't because of drinking. It was actually either a sore stomach from a couple of sicknesses I've had a little while, maybe motion sickness because we went go-karting. Whatever it was, I was pretty messed up from very early on in the evening, not even afternoon. So, yes, that's why we weren't around for the last week.
Yeah,
so,
and 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before was when you were sick with the
proper
stomach.
sick.
Yeah,
so yes. So for the
combined.
Yes. So me and more lights out there. If you're sick, stay away from me. No one's going to be around me if I'm sick. So stay away.
Yes, glad I'm in close proximity.
Wearing my One of Go's bucks just to keep on living that spirit. Now today we're going to be talking about goals. We generally do monthly goals and reference our annual goals as well. I did mine a couple of months ago, 2 months ago to be exact.
3
months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago. So now we're going to be hearing Kyrin's annual goals, of which he gave me some insight into one of them yesterday, but this is going to be pretty fresh. I have no clue what the goals are. So I think the easiest way is Kyrin will be doing a lot of talking. Maybe I'll inquire into particular things, question some things. If you're listening to this live, by the way, feel free to drop a comment if you want to ask any other questions or clarifying things. I'll look at it when we do the Boostagram lounge in the middle bit, and then maybe at the end if you've got any other questions as well.
Sure.
So, Kyrin, I think...
I might round up 2025, the 2024-2025.
Sure.
As a start off. So yeah, I start mine in October, just for those who know. Always recommend doing that. I was telling a lot of people yesterday, like it's good to just do it. Not a busy time of the year. Don't do New Year's resolutions. Do it a better time. So as usual, they are linked to my 8 kind of like long-term goals. And another little fun fact here is I've actually tweaked those as well. So just the wording on them. Do I have it on my phone? Probably better for another time, but I wrote those.
We could do a conversation on the stuff. I'm thinking of tweaking my like top 3 levels as well, so we can do that as a separate thing.
Yeah, sounds good. But the main reason was that like I wrote them when I think I was 25, 26, maybe 24, and I just there was just some things in there. Some of the wording I was like, I was a bit more obsessed with like masculinity back then, and I don't care about that anymore. So it just made sense for me to be like, I'll tweak these. So these are linked to those. Right at the end of this, of what I said last year was finding a partner and one on handstand above all else. If you think I'm deviating from these, please call me out, and partner will take precedence if necessary. Notice that nothing about the podcast in here. If anything, I was going to try and do less. And then I had, media consumption should be around language learning, AI architecture, podcasting 2.0, one-arm handstand, and happy things. Crypto/macro, the bare minimum. Even though that wasn't a goal, boy, did I fail that one. Holy shit, was that bad.
Yeah, I want to see, yeah. Well, do you want to talk about it now? I was going to say, did you completely miss the mark on that one?
Yeah, so financially, so we're doing these out of order. Yep. Financial, be decisive and stay calm/rational/skeptical. I fucked that up so badly. Good Lord. That was
Now, did you fuck that up badly and did it result in a bad outcome?
No. So financially, I'm totally fine.
Yep.
The thing that I fucked up, and which I probably should have known better. I'd heard this before, but should have known better. Don't optimize your finances around tax. Tax should kind of be like... I don't know what, like something you do in the last like 90% of like, here's a consideration, like you're doing all of these things. And if you want, like, try and minimize your tax.
I'll make a caveat just because I've seen it though. I'd say and this goes globally because most places, apart from if you're a place that doesn't get taxed, but there's a certain threshold of income that makes sense to start like worrying about that. But me, you, a lot of the people who are listening to this, we're not. I'm thinking beyond 5 million income or like 50 million asset. Like definitely set up your tax structures in the correct ways.
Sure.
People who own a lot of property, like you're aware of this, like good setups in that. For us, it kind of doesn't really make sense in the effort, other costs, and whatever. That just would be like, just pay that tax.
Yeah. So I was basing my decisions on like, okay, I want to try to minimize tax in the future, but I was letting that kind of override. Okay, well, that's nice and all, but you only need to pay tax if you're making money and if you're like actually locking in gains and things like that. And I probably should have done that. I should have utilized that more, like the financial year more. And so, when fucking shit ran up in January, I saw the hype. I felt the hype.
Yep.
I almost cashed out a bit, but it was like, but this doesn't really get into like what I was thinking, what my plan was. Stuffed up. I definitely wasn't staying rational and skeptical enough. Sure. So
this happens, and this happens to all of us. This is not immaterial. I'll share this. I won't go specifics, but I recently finished off our tax, which is still finalizing it through. And there's a concept in Australia, probably most places, that there's tax losses carried forward, which is basically if you've got a tax loss, you can carry it forward and you can negate any capital gains. My tax losses move forward are still almost approaching 6 figures. So I have a lot of tax. Sure. I've got a lot of gains to offset from previous irrational movements that I've made. So
great.
There's a lot of tax losses sitting there in the
advice. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
If you want to maximize your tax losses, listen to the Immortals.
That's right. Plenty of tax losses to come.
Good Lord. All right. So jumping on to just others. We'll do this out of order. This will be fun. Another one is stuffed up and didn't do. Travel. Ability to switch languages rapidly. So this was learning like how to keep Portuguese, so like
Portuguese and German,
and Spanish. Reading some books in another language. I think I might have been doing at least some of that. Retraining my German, didn't really do. Decide what competency I want, didn't do. Replace meter with second language, didn't do. Essentially, I used my German to, let's say I put, 200 hours of German practice in a Duolingo. If I spent an hour and a half in Germany using my German, I will be surprised.
Okay.
So in terms of a time investment,
it's a huge amount. Yeah.
Thankfully, that was all in the previous year.
True.
I thought I was going to travel to Germany a lot quicker. Looking over the years, another fun thing I was doing was when setting the goals for this next year was going through all of my old ones. So I've got a list here of 2021, 22, 23, 24. And the things in there were travel, basic German and advanced Spanish, travel, complete a 1 hour German convo, travel, prioritize German and Spanish convos, and travel, experience and spontaneity versus over diligence. So you can see it was very language focused for the travel component. And whilst fun, I haven't really used these languages for a while, and I'm glad I did it, especially Spanish. But the end of that is kind of in sight, and I don't really see myself ever going down that path again unless I have a real need for a new challenge, Japanese or something.
Like I knew something like this would have come at some point. Sorry, not specifically to your goals, but if you are, say, an Apple user, right, and you're the latest Apple headphones, and again, there's probably some delay to it, but I have heard personally and seen some videos of the latest headphones, people using them, and apparently it does translate whatever language it is quite quickly, like quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine in 7 years' time, maybe less, like it would be really, really quick uptake in terms of like the language being, whether it's like glasses or headphones or whatever it is that you use, would be so quick that really I can only see language learning for the cultural aspects, for the understanding of concepts and ideas that are more foundational, which is still important, but the actual, like, for a speech and like getting yourself understood, I'm like, man, I can really see that starting to really go away.
It becomes more of, I guess, what would you call like a lost art in some sense. So let's think of something like calligraphy, or being able to handcraft a Japanese sword from scratch using the old methods. you could probably craft a better, more stronger, durable sword.
Yeah, I would say it's like
aluminium or something.
It's less functional. It's like more non-functional. It's more a hobby. It's more out of joy. It's more out of passion. It's not out of need. You don't need it.
No,
you don't need it anymore.
absolutely not. And to highlight this, my brother's going to Colombia next year. His girlfriend's Colombian, meeting her family, and they are looking at buying just 2 pairs of these things so he can talk with her mum.
Oh, they are? Okay, cool.
In that. So, yep. So that one, I would say, didn't really do well in. Blah, whatever. I'm not that fussed about it either. Right. Yeah. So probably, most important one here was the partner, maximizing surface area for serendipity. I think I did this in the sense, like, I got out a lot. I certainly had more opportunities to meet people.
Sure. Yeah.
Than I had probably these last couple of years. Has it really helped? Not particularly, but I did the goal in a sense. So did I find a partner? No.
Well, I think your goal was just to create the opportunity for that to occur. So I think there was more opportunities. More surface areas were touched.
And a lot of that, I guess, was so coming into these. My mindset was so mum had passed away. I'd been traveling Brazil for a little bit, and I was coming back to Australia. I was like, okay, what can I do when I come back to kind of really make the most of this next year? And I remember coming in with like a lot of like energy. Like when I was riding all this stuff in Brazil, I was like, I'm going to do this, going to do that. It's going to put in a ton of energy. And even at the time I knew like, I'm probably not going to like attack this really as hard. It's one of the other goals, maintain tranquil monk energy and cultivate a driving purpose. And it was kind of like that driving purpose. You need to be going forward, need to like have energy givers. I was in a really great frame of mind in Brazil for that like one bit where it was just like, all right, here's a new start, a fresh start, which is kind of what I needed after mum passed away. And it's part of the reason why I was traveling Brazil. It's like I had this feel of I need to get out of Australia, and then it's like, okay, and coming back, I need to be doing something. I'm giving myself like kind of 50% for both of those goals.
Okay.
I made an effort, but I certainly wasn't working super hard, and you'll see how that has changed for perhaps these next year's goals.
Okay.
Relationships solidify and expand slightly. So this was, setting aside dedicated time for people, be more attentive to changes, just in relationships, organize more get-togethers. Yeah, I'll give myself like 80-90% for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Sounded like you were going to a lot of events, organizing things, doing things.
Yeah. Even just yesterday, kind of made what potentially might be a new friendship group. I certainly feel really established in the gym, for example. There's so many people.
Kyrin was at a coffee shop yesterday, and he got recognized. Yeah.
Sauna girl. Shout out to Sauna girl.
Sauna girl.
So yeah, that one I'd say I did pretty well in. Health. So one arm handstand to the detriment of all else. So this was saying like dropping the yoga, running only if you can, if it doesn't take away, doing golf only if you can, restudy with fresh eyes. Really happy with that one. Really, really happy. Yep. I felt like I actually made some progress. I can consistently get a 5 to 6 seconds on any given day now.
That's awesome. I mean, again, if you reflect back to probably the previous annual goals that we were doing, I think at that point you were kind of talking about like you'd gotten like a 2-second one, or we were just holding it. And again, if you go back another year, I remember you talking basically like, I'm able to do it with 2 hands and on fingertips for like 15 seconds, right? So again, this is like, because you're all at the bare edge of those percentages, it's like, yeah, it's going to take that much more effort to get that little extra incremental. But because we sometimes just talk about it annually, it's like, oh shit, yeah, now you're doing 5-6 seconds when back in the day you were like, fuck, I just want to do it like for a second or two.
Yeah. A lot of this, I guess, was injuries. Every time I kind of started to ramp up into it, I would get injured. If it were, first it was kind of tendonitis, and that was because I was working on a lot of muscle ups and pull ups and Cali work at the same time. The next time, so then kind of dealing with tendonitis, trying to fix that. That was probably like 2023, I guess. 2022, actually, it was right when I turned 30, so 2022. coming into like 2023, that was still like niggling, and I was still maybe doing a little bit, but I was working on other things as well. Probably the running was before that, but it was just other stuff.
If you're in your teens and your 20s, honestly, go wild, go bananas, do everything. Your body can handle it. I think now we're starting to see in our 30s, and I'm sure this just keeps on going in the same sort of similar pattern. It's you got to just get focused in on the things that you care about. You're not able to do everything. I can't do all the things that I was doing when I was in my 20s. I'm going to get injured. I'm going to get too sore or whatever. So the fact that you're like, I'm going to focus in. You kept on doing it. I mean, you've been doing it now for 7 years or something like that. Handstands.
Yeah. And, I went to bouldering yesterday, and just after 5 climbs of very, very average climbing technique, I'm
hauling your body up.
gripping. There was this guy there, another bald dude, probably not too dissimilar from me in terms of like body shape, maybe a little bit smaller, more like, if I had to say, he looked like a B-boy in some sort of sense.
Okay, yeah.
And man, this dude was effortless.
Yep.
Just I don't know.
Flowing up the wall. You're like, what's going on?
It kind of reminds me of like when I go to the calisthenic park, I'll jump on the what do you call the bars that
monkey bars?
Monkey bars, yeah. And I can go across them really smooth because I've been doing that. I do that every time I go there, basically for, I don't know, last 5 years. I can do that really, really smooth. That's what that guy was like, but
Going
with
up,
everything.
but with everything.
So,
damn.
I was brute strengthening up, and after 10 climbs, I was just like, I've got a bunch of pain like in my lower back over here and up on here, and I probably shouldn't be doing much more. Yeah, and the guy I was with, Wiki, thankfully, was also just like,
kind of similar.
Yeah. We're both sore. Man, those fucking shoes destroy your feet. If you want ballerina feet as a dude, do rock climbing and bouldering. That's the way to go. So really great. Felt I did super well. The last 2 that I had here were around character and knowledge/skill. So restrained weak Kyrin. In a way it was good, in a way it was bad. I'll give myself like 40% on that. Yep. Maybe 40 to 60.
Some restraint was found, and then sometimes.
Yeah. So things I wrote down, make note of like triggers leading to bad habits, unhelpful thoughts, fantasizing, catastrophizing, unproductive overthinking, poor priorities, low confidence. Yeah, I'd say like 60% of the year I was probably pretty good, and then there would still be 40% where I was just like thinking unhelpfully, getting stuck in a bit of a rut, stuff like that. It's okay. Yeah. So it's certainly not. I read a journal recently of when I was in my so it was me reflecting as a 21-year-old on my teens, and
negativity.
I was in a good place then. That would have been like 95% really unhelpful overthinking. Yeah, so better in that sense. And just with everything that happened with mum as well, it's not too bad. Like I wasn't dwelling on her too much and her passing, but there was still moments where I was like very kind of like angry at the universe, if you want to call it like that, something like that. So yeah, could have done better, could have done worse. And then the last one here, learn how to use AI. And so this was using Smart Agent, perhaps feeding my gym data, creating graphs from that. Didn't really do that. Reducing podcast work. In a sense, yes, because Podhome creates it. So it's like a cheat code by joining them. But we perhaps wouldn't be on Podhome and not have that. Find useful podcasts, YouTube channels, deeper understanding of the infrastructure, rules of thumb for prompting. In the sense of learning about AI, almost zero. I learned a little bit about transformers, tried reading the transformer paper. Was it Transformers or?
The attention paper by Google.
Yeah.
2017.
Tried reading it, didn't really understand it, didn't really bother to try and understand it deeper either. So in that sense, no. But in the sense of actually using it, I use it every day now. And it's mostly as a search tool, but it's becoming more for, okay, like here's a task I want you to do. Here's some data, crunch through the numbers for me. Give me a bit of a deeper dive on XYZ topic. In that sense, I am better, but still could probably have a bit of room to do more. So yeah, that was kind of my goals for 2025 overall. Reasonably happy with it. I wouldn't say it was a stellar year, nor was it super
Terrible
either. It's kind of just trucking along in some senses.
Just checking to see if there's any comments.
Yeah, I can see them over here. Don't see any. Any big learnings or anything like that? No, not really. But I had some learnings upon like the reflections from it, and moving into next year, a couple of things that I want / need to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
I don't know. What was your feeling for your 2025 as well? Like when, even though we only did the episode 2 months ago.
Yeah, look, I think that the goals for the previous year, there was quite a few on like the podcast front. There was some change, there was movements. There was
moving house. And
moving house. I think overall it was a wedding, like majorly the wedding, which I think that kind of like took up a lot of the time and space in a good way. So I think there was a lot of like live activities that kind of fell upon that. Whereas this year it's starting to shift more towards, well, there's a new little baby on the way, but the like more focus on knowledge and things I'm trying to improve. One of the things I talked about just recently in another like solo episode I did was like probably now, and I think it's different when you're younger, but probably now the difference between like the trophies or thinking of like an outcome that I want to get versus just like the habits or the actions is like so much different and so much more valuable. As in, even now the annual goals I've got for this year, when I'm like reflecting back, I'm like, it's not actually helpful to say, oh, I want to reach $1.2 million in assets or 1.3 million. Like it's kind of not helpful versus saying maybe the habit that I want to set up is that 90% of the time I wake up at this time and I do my morning routine, and I'm just building towards like that level of habit, because that habit will then ensue all the other stuff that I want. So I think one of the lessons I looked back on the previous goals, I was like, okay, that's, I've talked about this like personally with other friends. It's like, I don't know any more trophies that I want to obtain. Yeah, there's like some far off interesting ideas that I have, but if they were not to be accomplished, like fuck it, that's fine, totally fine.
Yeah.
So now it's, I think, more, I can definitely see a shift in me of the goals having to be more about habits or actions or practices than anything else. Yeah.
Sure.
Especially, this is going to be interesting because when you were saying some of these things, some of your previous year goals, I was like, I wonder if some of these will start changing either because of the speed of just learning, let's just say like AI or other things, or it becomes a case of once you reach, let's just say, finding a partner, and you've got a partner and then it's working through, if then your goals start shifting much more to like, okay, well that's been obtained, and maybe the trophies that you're after, like the things that you're after have been obtained, then it's like, okay, what are the things that you start like focusing in on or caring about that you do? And they might go from trophies or things to, okay, habit, whatever, action.
Do you ever see yourself on a stage at any point in your life in the future receiving an award for something? Like, you know, one's stepping on the stage, he's won like player of the year for some sort of team.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
You know, most I don't know, XYZ.
As usual, most people are like, a lot of people I know are like this, where it's not necessarily that we like praise. Like we don't, not that you don't need praise, which is very different. Don't need praise and don't like praise. I think it's two different things. I don't necessarily like praise. So if someone wants to say like, oh, you've won an award for, let's just say with a top podcaster in Brisbane, I don't know if I would really appreciate going and receive an award or like be called out for that. Not really, but praise is good. I would be like, oh, that's awesome. Like I'm happy that that's been recognized, but I don't necessarily need like something offered for me or like be called out to celebrate it. So it's different things in relation to that.
Perhaps recognition is another word.
Yeah, I could even see myself, to be honest, I could see myself creating, whether it's a book or other content or other material, but doing it under an alias name or something. I could see that. I could definitely see that.
If I've got a fantasy, it's usually of like me cloaked in the shadows. And it's like,
I remember this ages ago, the story of you like being in like a cave out in like Ayers Rock or something like that.
creating like a monolithic piece of artwork that's not discovered for 200 years.
God. I'll just quickly run through the Boostagram lens because we haven't actually done this for a little while. So I will just call out that we've received a lot of sats on the way from the late bloomer actor, listening to a lot of the podcasts, which has been awesome. So really appreciate that. There's probably other streams that have come through, but no Boostagrams. No. So no chucks. No chucks, people. No chucks. That's what happens. Again, I will call out, so I'll use this little moment that Gary Vaynerchuk and previously towards him, Steve Bartlett, they kind of like promoted and talked about a product called Stan. Now, I was like, you know what? We got free access given VFriends Series 1. So I was like, cool, I'll try it out. Kyrin let me know about it. And I created a little like community. So it's separate to our Discord. Discord, we just like chat up. And if you want to just drop in and chat, fuck it. We'll just do that and we share things in there. But the community I kind of created was like, I think I made it like $3.95 a month. It's US. And if you go in there, and basically it's going to be specifically about like goals, aims, shit like that. So if you want to go on something like that, and it's more so you can share it, you can talk directly about it, help out in a sort of community like environment. Again, I got no one in there at the moment. So if you want to get that support, fuck it, cool. I'll try it out. We'll see. We'll see how like it initiates. But at the same time, in that space, especially the Gary Vaynerchuk community or whatever, I've actually put out a call being like, if you want to have a half-hour conversation on the podcast, present your idea and just have a bit of a chat. Sure. Obviously, it helps us. We create some content if it's interesting, and they get the same. So if someone's already bit the bullet or someone wants to do that, so I sent them an email this morning. Cool. But I've got a couple. Also, I will call out. I've got two interviews already on the hook for October, and obviously that one will be a third one. So nice. I'm cranking up the interview piece. I think.
Remind me to put that link in the show notes.
Yeah, at least from a just growing perspective, as in growing, and I'm talking from like a viewership perspective and getting other different eyeballs. I think interviews kind of like a no-brainer to do. It's
the way to go.
The thing is, it does take effort, it does take time. So I'm gonna look to put a bit more effort on that front, as opposed to, because like we've talked about this, whether it's book reviews or the other stuff, we just haven't seen that much interaction on some of these things, right?
Yeah, we probably need to have a discussion about the future of the Boostagram Lounge at some point.
Yeah, look, and again, so if you're listening to this, make a comment. We do have people coming through from a Boostagram perspective and using it. Gary Vaynerchuk on a recent video talked about like, there's going to be these platforms in the future where you can send cryptocurrency to each other and it'll, there won't be a middleman. I'm like, that already exists.
Bruh.
And then he's kind of talking about how Stan enabled that because it goes to direct payment. This already exists. I'm just waiting for the day when someone's going to integrate this into something like that and people will be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, I just don't know. So again, if you participate,
overnight success.
Yeah, if you participate in the space again, like we do support it and we do appreciate it. But at some point, right, it's 6 years. 6 years that we've been doing the podcast, right? September. Yeah. So it's 6 years. At some point, we're going to be like, okay, we're going to put some traction and we're going to put some... I'll give you another comparison. We're talking about David Cerner from Founders. He was talking to Tim Ferriss just recently. He did for 5.5 years with basically nobody listening to him, like literally nobody. Same thing with Chris Williamson for 3 years. I think most of his plays were like zero. Like not even his mum was watching it. It was literal zero. So there is obviously sometimes when people kick off for whatever reason. I think we've also done certain things for a while. Time to try something new. So
yeah.
We'll have to have a conversation about that. If you've got any thoughts of it on it, though, comment on it.
I'd say the other thing is like, they probably still were putting in as much effort as they were in their kind of like peak. So like if I was still putting in as much effort as I was in 2021 into the podcast, and then I think the outcome right now would be rather different in terms of where we're at and viewership and guest quality, opportunities, things like that. But yeah, priorities change as well. So
true.
There's what I would say you get out what you put in, and as you saw from my goals last year, like I've not been putting in.
Yeah, it was just other thing. Like for a long time, I think everyone to be aware, there's very much been a hobby, something that is something that we just enjoy doing or playing back, right? And if for whatever reason we need to pause and stop doing it, then we do it. But obviously, you can tell us directly, obviously, with some funds and stuff like that, if you want to see something in particular or different. So, but
sure,
that's been the Boostagram Lounge. Let's have a look at what's coming ahead for Kyrin's year. Let's see where his focus is going to lie.
Yep. So, do you want to hear the goals first, and just like me just list them out without any context? Do you want to hear like the overall arching thing?
I want to hear overarching context, and then we'll go one by one on them.
Okay, so I guess For the main type of thing was revitalising my hunger, drive, and striving.
Okay.
I would say I've been lazy or complacent maybe is another word.
I think complacent is probably a better word.
In the sense that whilst I have a pretty decent routine and I still undoubtedly put in effort to things, focus has probably been lacking in many respects. And I'd say this like intellectually, you can see that in the book reviews, which were like all over the shop and not particularly like driven on a particular thing. Like, you know, I once did that Australia book reviews and I just read Australian books.
Gotcha, okay, like that. Yeah,
the general focus the last year has been a lot on like financial stuff, which has been helpful, but then I'd be mixing it with like random politics last month, or there was, you know, just like bits and pieces. It was kind of like haphazard in a way. I'd say other than the training last year for the one-arm handstand, everything else has kind of been very similar. Like approaches to socializing with people, kind of haphazard, and I was just going with the flow.
Sure. A bit of cruise control was on another aspects of life. Yep.
And I think I even mentioned this in the podcast. You know, I said I kind of felt a malaise of accomplishment recently, which hasn't been helpful. So, you know, no, I haven't completed everything in life yet. You know, I felt like I was saying, I ticked off a lot of the goals that I had. I actually found the little mini notebook sheet that I had when I was 20 maybe, of where I wrote down, it was literally the size of a phone, little notebook. And I'd written down just the 6 or 7 things, you know, learn to play piano, learn another language, you know, have sex with a 10 out of 10 or something like that, earn $1 million or reach $1 million. There's 1 or 2 other things on there, which I can't remember. I found the book. Page was missing, unfortunately. That would have been a great page to have.
Yeah.
So even though I'd done a lot of those things, it's not good to just be bleh, just kind of sitting in malaise, which I have felt. So do I need to do more to prove it to myself? Not necessarily. It's more just an acknowledgement that, okay, this is what kind of like retired people feel like in a sense. They get retired.
You gotta have a challenge. You gotta have a challenge.
Okay, what do I do? You know? That being said, you know, I felt that, and then it was like, all right, I need to burn everything down to the ground, start from scratch. You know, everything's up for debate in terms of where I spend my time. And there are certainly some changes that need to be made. I look at a couple of the friendships that I have and I go, is that helpful? Is that productive? Is this the type of person I really want to be hanging out with? Are they moving me forward in life? No, they're not. And so a couple of those I'll probably have to like let drift. Do I need to fucking get an axe and chop them at the knees and tell them exactly what I think about them? No.
They'll just generally drift and...
Exactly. So... there was many things like that. You'll have seen recently the book reviews. I'm going to stop doing them for a while. Basically, I kind of had that same thing where it was like, okay, I'm doing these things. They're starting to become a little bit tedious. Am I really enjoying it? Am I getting much feedback from people? No. So obviously it's not connecting with people. So therefore, the reason I'm doing it is mostly for myself. And if I'm not enjoying it, well... What's the point? Yep. So that's kind of one of those ones.
Also, if you're not enjoying it, it comes through. It comes through as well with the content, right? So you'll be like, what's going on?
Yeah. And look, I still was enjoying it. It's just it started to creep up into being like a little bit of a chore.
Yeah. Like, oh, I've got to do that today.
Yeah. So that's kind of one thing. The other thing was it's simple to do the easy things I enjoy and that provide real benefits at the same time. The one-arm handstand. There's no doubt, like, it's great for my health. It's great for focus. Gets me out of the house. Gets me the opportunity to meet other people at the same time. It has a real definable, like, skill that is a valuable, kinda in a way. Like, it can open opportunities, but that's easy. It's real easy for me to go to the gym. That's not hard. Like, I'm not like spending effort to do that.
Yeah,
it's such a
it's an ingrained thing. It is if you. I know that for other people who would say that, would be like, oh yeah, that's not, for us. For us, it's like that's cruise control. That's just you're doing it because you enjoy it, and that's fine.
Absolutely. A friend of yours, who you know from the gym, Dan. I've seen him there sometimes. He's like, I'm grinding to be here. Like I haven't enjoyed being here for a while, but I'm still here, still working out. So that's the kind of like, not that I want to be like that, but it's like, okay, you know what? There's probably been some hard things that I've been avoided doing that are long-term beneficial, but suck and that I don't enjoy. So this is kind of a year of doing some of those. In this case, probably for me, the biggest one is just the emotionally disturbing, debilitating thing that happens when I feel rejection. So in particular, chatting with women, get an outright rejection.
Yep.
That tilts me off kilter, and it has done for a long time. And this is just getting back to my roots as a kid, teenager, wouldn't put myself out there at all because I was just very socially anxious, and because I didn't want to feel rejection. I've gotten over this in the past through effort. And there's been a couple of other things. The social judgment, even financially, I'm going to do one or two things this year which are like uncomfortable in a sense. Like it's perhaps like it would feel extravagant to pass Kyrin, but it's like, okay, no, I need to do this for myself. So here's just a couple of like a list of like random things which might come up. So charisma on command training. So that's I think that was a guy I heard on Tim Ferriss, where he's talking about like how you can develop more charisma, and this is useful for business context and for your social life and personal life, sexual life, that sort of thing. Is that the sort of thing I want to pursue? I remember Chris Williamson talks about how he did dictation to improve himself on the podcast. That is the kind of, I guess, extra step where it's kind of just like, okay, I know how to speak. I know how to speak to women, but the getting rejected, you kind of saw it, I guess, maybe even recently in the coffee shop. I'm very easy in talking with groups now. There was some random Germans there, chatting with them. There was girls from the gym who I barely knew. I was chatting with them easily. And I'm very easy now getting in and out of groups, but I'm not putting myself out in the line in terms of, hey, you're cool. Do you want to go for a drink?
Yeah, like it's the yep.
So that's the essential sort of thing. Other type of stuff, eye contact and smiling. Perhaps even I'll get into the goals to sort of explain some of the other things.
Okay.
So, partner, simply put in more effort. So like I said, analysing, improving social skills, set aside time for approaching, kind of be more thoughtful whilst dating, doing more out of the box things, finding ways to mitigate the side effects of rejection. The biggest change as well that I made to the long-term goal was I used to say, find a long-term partner. Now I've changed that to kind of like bonding with a long-term partner, because I guess in my mind, one of the things that I probably struggle with, or it's very just predominant in my mind, is the aspect of like having sex for the first time, for example, or being really physically intimate. That was always just a big barrier for me, and it still feels like it. Still feels like that's, if I'm like dating someone, that's the to illustrate. I used to have this big routine of like, okay, I have to like set up the perfect way to initiate sex or sexual contact. They'll come over, we'll organize a dinner. She'll sit on this side and I'll sit on this side, so I can like make some light touches and stuff. And then I'll like, how do I get her to like the bedroom, for example, or like more enclosed space? Okay, I'll say that I have some photos on my laptop and that it's only available on my laptop, so we have to go upstairs and then sit beside me on the bed. And then there was like this complicated series of things where it was like, was this all necessary? No, and I know for a fact it wasn't. But it was the kind of thing I needed to do in my head for myself.
Sure.
And
it's a process, delivered outcome. So if I can run that process again, the outcome's going to be found.
Whereas I was talking with my friend Brendan, and he was saying, once they started like had a kiss or something, or physical contact was initiated, he was just like, it's just a done deal from there. Like I didn't have to think about it. And for me, that's just like, but the steps, man, the process. Like, what if you do that downstairs? You're not even near the bedroom. Like, how's that going to work? I've gotten rid of a lot of that, but there's still a kind of barrier in my mind on that. And so I guess that's probably one of the main mental type of things. Physically getting out and kind of just putting myself out there more is a big aspect to this. So going to more events, here's some things that I probably need to think about. Speed dating, is that worth going to and trying that? Even though I don't like using the apps, perhaps I can make a way to make it fun for myself. One of the thoughts I've been having is like, instead of just 5-10 generic photos of myself, make it fun. Take a photo of me, and then a photo of like Butters coming into the picture, and then another photo of Butters like jumping up onto me, and then a photo of like me falling over with Butters on top of me. And then eventually like me just on the ground with Butters sitting on top of me, and then just have like description of like vicious dog attack survivor or some shit. Like just try and make it funny, just random stuff like that where I can make it fun.
Sure.
Instead of like the normal putting up a bunch of photos, connecting with some girls, perhaps getting stuck in text limbo hell, which I hate.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to find ways around that. Anyway, all sorts of ideas which I just need to put more in.
Effort. Yep.
Relationships, this is probably not too surprising. Create more courageous conversations, which is a kind of like 2 words I've been just thinking about a lot more recently. Having those conversations with my dad and brother, for example, about an ex-girlfriend. What did you think of her, really? Like, what do you think about myself? Like right now, what are some things that you think I'm doing well or wrong? I remember Rishvi had this kind of like concept he talked about where it's like 5 guys trying to learn game for the first time, and they get into like a circle, and they each kind of like analyze each other. And so it's like, okay, what was something I did wrong last night? And one guy's like, oh, well, you kept talking to that girl for too long when she really wasn't interested. Like it was kind of obvious. And then goes on to the next one. It's like your body odor, man. Like after a couple of hours, like I could smell you from 5 meters away. And it kind of goes around the circle, and you see them like being hesitant to kind of open up and receive criticism. But then it's just like, oh wait, this criticism can actually be really helpful for myself.
I'm going to make a personal note here. I'm going to give Kyrin some courageous feedback
Do it, man.
after this podcast.
Okay.
I'll give it personally.
Sure.
I won't tell anyone, but remind me. I'll tell you that something that me and my wife talked about after yesterday, and it'll be positive.
Thank you. So a couple of things for this. Kind of cutting through mundane chit chat. Just being a little bit more out there in terms of. There was this guy in the sauna yesterday. He had a couple of towels on him. So, you could say like, oh, how you going, mate? But I started with a bit of a ramble about how my brother is creating a competition in the sauna of him versus the other people. And then
whoever leaves first.
And if you have more towels, that's kind of like a detriment. It was just a fun way of starting up a conversation. It worked well.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, how you going, man? Like, how long are you going to stay in for? So things like that. Financial, be secure when others are greedy. So this is kind of cutting down on my media sources in particular, distancing myself a little bit from the day-to-day, especially crypto, which I find really fun. I enjoy spending time, but a part of it is I started a list on my phone of people where I'm like, these are the people I follow, these are people you shouldn't follow, and yet I still listen to kind of all of them. And it's like, well, what's the point of creating that list?
What's the point of getting that list if you're not going to do it? Yeah.
Just learning more about kind of stable coins and risks associated with them. A bear market list for kind of like idea checking. One thing I have noticed is if I find something new and shiny, I probably jump in a little bit too quickly. Whereas it should maybe be like, spend $10 so that you're invested in it in some sort of aspect, but
Minimize the downside.
waiting 3 months and then coming back to ideas is usually a good idea. So
Look, if you come back 3 months later and it's still like, oh yeah, that still checks out and everything else.
yep. And same with just like fundamentals for anything new, you know, yes, it's a brand new idea. I saw this actually really recently with the kind of Pokemon cards being digitized. Had a bit of a renaissance. It's like, oh my God, all these people, like, it's happening. Like the physical is finally becoming
Transitioning
digital.
to digital.
Digital. This is the term I saw. And I know if I had seen this, if that had been around in 2021 and I heard that for the first time, I'd have been like, this is game changing. This is going to change the world. I need to put everything I have into this, like, as quickly as I can.
Yep.
Now, a little bit wiser, or having seen things like this before, I go, that's nice. I'm glad it's working. Let's see how it's going in 2 years' time.
Yep.
3 years' time. Like, there's no need to jump in too quickly. And then I want to do an overhaul of my wallet system. I've been using a lot. There's a lot of kind of permissions floating around that.
Fair.
Yeah,
You've been approved and used and whatnot. Yep.
For sure. So health, this one is going to be more about chasing points. So the one-arm handstand's been great. It's so draining. The focus on that has kind of really drained me. And so I want to chase points again in some sort of respect. So getting back to the what is it called? The fitness challenge that I set up. I've got 4 years worth of stuff in there. I'm not going to add a new one. I'm just going to try and chase old ones. But there's I'm going to split it into like 3 quarters for this next year.
Okay.
So quarter 4 is going to be about legs. So doing some ballet type stuff. That's not
not point per se, but it's just like a focus.
I'll talk about that in a sec. So quarter 4 is legs, pull in quarter 1, running quarter 2.
Okay.
And endurance in quarter 3. And so I've got a kind of side quest for each of these quarters.
Cool. Okay.
So going to the Queensland Ballet for a period. The pool, I need to kind of figure out. Maybe I should join a rowing team for a couple of months or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Something along those lines, or go to more like of a calisthenic. And when I say pull, I'm thinking like pull-ups and dips and things like that.
Yeah. When you're saying pull, it's not swimming pool. You're talking pull as in like the pulling motion.
Yeah, the pulling motion. Yep. And we've got those rowing stuff, which still need to be conquered. Running, I'm going to do the Brisbane Marathon. Decided. So that's in June of 2026.
Okay, you heard it here first, me and Mortalites. All of the friendship group that runs is going to be doing the Brisbane Marathon in 2026.
Yep, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, we're doing it. And then I've got endurance, but I'm kind of thinking like doing a side quest. So that the Brisbane Marathon, there's points associated, but it's also a side quest because I can do a marathon without being in a race.
Sure.
And so hopefully be doing the yoga teacher training then. I don't have any travel planned for then, so that'll work. Analysing old logs, one-arm handstand recording, kind of ruthless and focus, and okay and saying no. And I know I'm going to get injured. 100% I'm going to get injured doing some of this stuff. So really adapting to the injuries is going to be key. All right, let's get on. So I'll try and jump through these ones. Spirituality, kind of what I was talking about before, confronting reality, doing the hard things. So this is, going out of my way to like seek feedback, for example, on myself or giving feedback to other people. Just doing those things where it's like, do I want to set up a Tinder profile or a Hinge profile? Not particularly, but you know what? If I can spend a couple of hours asking my brother, who spent a lot of time on these things, like, how did you do it? I guess getting back into that mindset of being the complete beginner on certain things and having to ask people for knowledge, which is, it's not the most fun position to be in, but it's very helpful as well. Traveling, big one for this is just moving out of the house. That's kind of the feeling of stagnation I've been having. Been in Morningside for 5 years. It's time to move out of there.
Make a move. Yep.
It's not helping me in terms of the day-to-day life of being able to meet people, especially. There's just a whole bunch of teenagers there and married couples. So going to somewhere like Newstead where there's a vibe, and not letting Asia interfere with plans. So I kind of got a tentative plan to go to Asia with Brendan. I've already told him, like, look, man, I maybe come for a month. I wouldn't be surprised if I even cut that down further. If not, if things work out in certain ways, perhaps even say, like, I just can't make it. It's very tentative. So, don't let that interfere. And there's a whole bunch of things in finding, like, where's the best place to live. I'm going to have some financial roadblocks for sure in renting. I already know there's a girl at the gym who's self-employed, and she runs a cafe, and she literally got a kind of an apartment in Newstead where I would probably be looking at, and she was saying it was hard for her to be able to prove that she was financially sound,
viable for it.
And then I was going like, man, if she is struggling, fuck, I'm gonna have some roadblocks. So we'll have to get around those. Character. So this probably isn't so revealing, but like the porn vice, I talked about this recently. Accepting it, resolving it, I guess, in some sort of sense. I've always been a little bit trepidatious about talking about sex. Probably want to get better at that. When I was with my ex in Florence, chatting with her about especially sex and the sexual relationship that we had was good. There was some things that we were like, we should have told each other this.
When we were together.
And then moderating sugar. So still have a bit of a sweet tooth that I'm gonna
moderate his sugar.
Yeah, so gonna be getting leaner and
leaner.
Yeah, leaner than
leaner than right now.
And the final one, modifying media sources coming in and thoughts going out. So just cutting out some stuff. I'm even thinking of like rejigging a whole lot of things. So potentially being like, all right, here's the Mere Mortals book reviews channel. I'll only like subscribe to certain types of channels on there. I've got a Twitter profile. I've got multiple Twitter profiles actually. Use this one for this one for that, and just really filter out the feeds, the algorithm. So I'm not getting like this barrage of here's something about NFTs, here's something about macro news, here's something about like a podcasting guy, here's something about a friend.
Yep.
It's like maybe I think I'd like to just try separating them out. Potentially I just end up creating a whole bunch of accounts and I'm like, fuck this, there's so much stuff. Potentially, but I've been doing that with my wallets and experimentations, and that's actually worked really well. Having different browsers, for example, where it's like, okay, this is the wallet I use for this is the wallet I use for that. That's actually been working well. So and then the thoughts going out is kind of just especially with talking with girls, getting rejections. It always happens. The kind of self-judgment comes in a lot there. Using the best tricks and techniques I can to stop the worst of that.
Sure.
So that's the goals for 2026.
Again, so I think overarching from what I'm hearing in the end, lots of effort on the relationship, finding the right bond with the individual. Sounds like that's pretty fun, the quarter breakdown of fitness and stuff like that. Yeah. I think moving will be, I think, a big game changer just in terms of even like mindset, space, environment that you're in.
Absolutely.
You'll end up finding yourself like serendipitous, just being around people in the area that you go out with, like even just walking around and stuff like that. Yeah. So
I like hanging out with my brother and his girlfriend, Butters, at their house. It's really fun. It's probably been very helpful, especially with mum's passing. Like being alone for the last year probably wouldn't have been
great. No.
Great. But yeah, moving on, moving out. And I think he's feeling kind of the same in the sense of like he wants to do a bit more. So his version will probably look different.
Very different, yeah. But it's good at the same time if you got like someone close to you that isn't the same. Like, okay, cool, let's go. Let's put in some effort at doing whatever it is.
And I think there's a couple other people in the immediate circle who are very similar. A guy at the gym who I went to have a drink with yesterday, he's very similar. He's like, you know, went out with the girl, chatted with her. They were like he's been single for a fair while as well. And he was like, you know what? The closer we got to being in a relationship, the more I realized it's nothing to do with her. I've got some stuff to work on in terms of, do I want to be in a relationship? If I do, how's it going to look? Blah, 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 blah.
It's on. So, yeah, 26, we're going to see lots of points as well. So, fuck, I'm keen to hear we'll talk about it in monthly goals next week. I want to hear what the legs are beyond ballet. We'll see what the other stuff is. So,
for sure. I'm going to get tree trunk legs. That's what.
Tree trunk legs. Again, for anyone, if you listen to this afterwards and you have any comments and queries and thoughts on Kyrin's goals and whether we've been doing it for many, many, many years, feel free to drop it in as well. We wish Kyrin all the best into
Thanks, man.
26 to see how it goes. We'll give him some feedback, some courageous feedbacks directly after this as well, so you can hear it from the horse's mouth. But it's always fun. It's always fun when you do the transition from one annual goal to the next.
Just why I'm slightly trepidatious. Juan's courageous feedback yesterday was we get to the run club. I had sunglasses on. And I pull him up, and he just says, "You look shit."
I say, "You look like shit. You look like shit." But no, it's a good feedback. It's a small feedback, but I think it'll be a good feedback. All right, meanwhile, I think we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks.
To that. It'll obviously, usually with the annual goals, it translates over to monthly goals that we talk to on a monthly basis. So obviously stick around to listen to that as we go along in terms of how Kyrin is progressing with those things. Yeah,
there's another person in the chat here I see, Lucas. He's saying like, yo, hey. And he's also another one. He's like, I need to make a change. He feels like being in a rut. His is actually very similar in terms of moving physically. He's been in Londrina for a while. Yep. It's looking like he'll move. Certainly apartment, but will he move out of Londrina? Will he come back to Australia? Will he go to Bali? Will he go to Sao Paulo? He's got a lot of options available for him. So it's a very similar deal. I know he's thinking similar things.
Similar things.
Yeah. Okay. Paths tend to align.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I hope the best for you. And if you're listening out there as well and you're thinking, I need to change. Like Kyrin said, don't fucking wait for New Year's, man. Do it just whenever is a general time of a month or something like that you want to do. I do mine off my birthday. It's in August, so it's like a quiet time to do it.
Yep.
It's a nice reflective time as well. Find time when you want to do it. Reflect on the things that you want to be doing. I'll shout it out if you want to hand with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I will be building a community as much as I can. If you want a free one as well, just use the Discord.
Yeah. Do you know the link?
It's on our Mere Mortals and our my personal Instagram as well. It's a Stan one. I think it's actually Stan. I'll actually tell you because it ends in Mere Mortals.
Yeah.
So it's actually nice and easy. I'm assuming not many people are using it. It's stan.store/Mere Mortals. That's it.
Okay. Yep. I'll put that in the links as well.
Interestingly enough as well, I don't know what's been happening recently, but so just as a... Normally, I both have my personal Instagram and the Mere Mortals one as a professional Instagram, right? And again, it's only Instagram, but I generally get like maybe 7,000 views in 30 days. I've been getting about 12,000 views now for the last 30 days on my personal one, and I've seen the Mere Mortal ones also pop up as well. Probably more stories, probably more something like that. Who knows?
AI bots.
AI bots probably, but 11,000 of them are just AI bots and 100 people, like real people. And it's just me. And it's just me 100 times through the month.
So I was just thinking, so we've got close to 4,000 on Instagram. And part of the reason was when we were first creating the podcast, I was connecting with a lot of other podcasters.
Correct.
So I'd be following them, leave a comment or something, generally chatting. I'd sometimes like review their podcast. If you go back to some of the old episodes, I remember I was
leaving audios and stuff like that.
Audios, encouraging them. I would say 3/4 of those followers are podcasts, and I would say 90% of those are probably just dead.
Yeah, up 100. I was going to say, I reckon, one of the big things that I see in our social is like very little interaction, and it's likely because it's just lots of dead accounts. A lot of dead accounts of people who just have given up. So if that was just normal humans who utilize platforms, then probably a lot would be higher. But it's just dead accounts that have just never been used.
Which goes like, did we buy our followers? No.
It's got a lot of dead accounts. There might as well be bots at this point because they don't do anything.
A bot would be preferable because at least it would interact.
That's true. There's nothing on there. All right, then we'll leave it there. I hope you have been well, Lucas. Hope you're well. For everyone else who are listening to this afterwards, be well wherever you are in the world. One out.
Kyrin out.
Good. Bye.